Go ahead, Bela.
So I just made a huge connection. So I have so much fear around certain situations with Belle, you know, going out, being around people or different things like that. And so earlier this week, she was in our backyard, and I think she either got stung by a bee or bit by something, and she started screaming and came in, and you could see the spot on her hand, and within minutes her body just covered in hives and her face started swelling. And Chad was home, and he started getting really nervous, and for some reason in that moment it should have evoked so much fear in me. I just like took her and held her and just imagined that sphere, and I just kept telling her, your body is doing exactly what it should, you're doing so good, and just looking at the hives and saying, this is what you're supposed to be doing, you're doing so good, and just telling her that. And it was like, we got her in the bath and she's screaming, and he's like, we have to go to the hospital. And she's like never been to the doctor. And so in my head, I'm so calm. I'm like, we don't have to go, but I'm trying not to shut that down. So I'm like, okay, let's get her out. And I'm just being very calm, you know, and I sit with her some more. And it was like, seriously, within 10 minutes, everything just started going away. And it was like from her feet first, I was like, look, Chad, look at her feet. They're gone. Then up to her chest, the hives were gone. And then it was like her face, her little eyes stayed swollen in her hands for a couple of days. But it was like he started feeling that calm almost immediately too. And so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, if I can be that calm in that stressful of a situation, I can do this in other things that create that fear in me. You know, I can create that space of.
And let's just be really clear so you know what happened. You did that. Something happened and you just found yourself in that sphere, in that space. You knew to do that. But what I want you to understand is you also accessed multidimensional reality. And when you access multidimensional reality, you're accessing a field of possibilities. So you being in that space with her is the very thing that allowed those hives to go away. You went from the linear, I got to do something about it, I got to get her to the hospital, I got to, get her whatever. You went from that to accessing a higher plane of consciousness. And when you access that higher plane of consciousness, there's all kinds of stuff that can go on, just like it goes on for the kids. Yeah, wow. That's amazing. That's so awesome, Bela. Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. And I mean, I'll just be honest. This is why I want people for 6 months at a time, because you're not going to hear conversations like this out in the world. As a matter of fact, if you tell somebody that out in the world, they're just going to go, yeah, that was a coincidence. Maybe she didn't get bit by a bee or stung by a bee or what. They're just going to dismiss it. But every time we dismiss these kinds of things, we also dismiss our capacity to connect with these kids where they live and evolve ourselves because of it. And this is the part that just gets me so excited. It's like you can take a small group of people and alter the way they live their lives with their children, really step into that multidimensional expression and experience. All kinds of magic can happen.